And if I wasn't next to you, I could send it to you by text message. A huge number of Americans are renouncing their citizenship every year. A smaller number of Americans that are renouncing their citizenship than actually are. Nobody has asked me that question. I think everybody in the world should have a second passport. You don't know when a government's going to go crazy.
So, Roger, it's millions of people try to get US citizenship, and they pay a lot of money to get a green card and wait a few years to get it. But you're the guy who renounced from US citizen. What's the reason?
Yeah, well, millions of people used to think the world was flat, but that didn't make it true either. Millions of people today think that the US passport's the best one or the US is the best place to live, but that's not necessarily true either. And each individual person needs to think about their own life and their own situation and what makes sense for them. And maybe for some people going to the US makes sense, but for a lot of people it doesn't make sense. And there's a huge number of Americans are renouncing their citizenship every year.
Do you know some numbers?
I know a bunch, and what I'll tell you is I think the US government's lying about the number of people that renounce. So for example, my name never showed on the renouncement list.
Really?
And I have a bunch of friends who've renounced as well. Their names never showed on the list. So the real number nobody knows, but I think the US government is trying to pretend that it's a smaller number of Americans that are renouncing their citizenship than actually are.
What is the approximate number? Have you seen?
I'd say over 100,000 a year, I would guess. So I think it's a lot. When you call the embassy trying to make an appointment to renounce your US citizenship, most of the time they say, oh, you have to wait months until we have an opening or an appointment, because I assume it's because they're so busy with so many people coming in to renounce, because what other reason could there be for having to wait months to be able to do that?
When did you renounce from the citizenship?
I renounced, the date of my renunciation was February 4th, 2014.
So you remember this date, it's like...
So they give you a piece of paper that's called a certificate of loss of nationality, and they write the date right on there. And they're supposed to give it to you pretty quickly, but you know, like most things with government, there's no accountability, and if they don't give it to you quickly, there's not much you can do. So in my case, I think they waited 9 months to give it to me, but when I finally received it, I saw that it had been signed months and months earlier, and it just sat on somebody's desk somewhere, and they didn't bother to send it to me until months later. So, but what am I going to do about it? So.
I see. So did you make some ceremony of oath from renounce of citizenship?
Yeah, so when I went into the embassy, basically they have a script that they read you from to try and caution you, and they said, did you know if you renounce your US citizenship, you're not going to be allowed to vote? But you know, I don't really believe in voting and haven't voted, you know, for the last 20 years, so that's not going to change anything. And the other interesting things, they said, like, did you know if you renounce your US citizenship, you won't be allowed to serve in the armed forces? And I knew I would never serve in the military. I'd rather go to jail than go and kill strangers that I've never met. So I was never going to serve in the US military ever. And then the other thing they said, did you know if you renounce, you won't be allowed to collect Social Security taxes? Somehow they didn't caution me that I won't have to pay Social Security taxes anymore either, and that Social Security is this giant Ponzi scheme that people are forced to be a part of. But anyhow, and then the other funny thing though, the guy did have a sense of humor. He asked me, do you want to, because they charge you to renounce. He said, do you want to pay with cash? Yeah, not the exit tax, just the actual fee at the embassy for the renunciation process, which is totally separate from the exit tax. The guy at the embassy, he asked me, he said, do you want to pay with cash, credit card, or Bitcoin?
Okay.
And and this was in 2014, and I looked at him, I said, how do you know I would want to pay with Bitcoin? He goes, oh, we know all about you. And then I said, well, can I really pay with Bitcoin? He goes, no, I was just kidding. So at least he had a nice sense of humor about that.
And what citizenship do you have now?
Now I'm a citizen of the wonderful country of Saint Kitts and Nevis, and that's where we're filming this right now.
Yeah, okay. You have a passport?
I do, yeah. I have my, I think this is probably my 5th or 6th Saint Kitts passport, because I usually go through one per year because there's so many stamps in there because I'm traveling all around. So yeah, in fact, I'll probably get another one later this year because I only have a page or 2 left.
So that is only one passport that you have? I mean citizenship.
One, yeah, Saint Kitts. So just kind of by good luck, I was looking for anything that was fast, cheap, and reliable, because I like things that are fast, cheap, and reliable, and Saint Kitts gives me visa-free travel to pretty much all of Europe, pretty much all of South America, and almost all of Asia without any visa required. So it's a really fantastic passport, and you can actually pay for the whole thing now with Bitcoin Cash with the different agents here in Saint Kitts, so that's fun as well. And we've processed dozens of people's applications, and they use cryptocurrency to pay at this point, so it's really fun.
Be honest with me. Does government of Saint Kitts pay you for advertising of Saint Kitts and Nevis?
But they're welcome to pay me. I'll put my Bitcoin Cash address where they can send me a payment. No, I'm probably one of the more well-known Kittitians at this point in the world. But
that is why we are here.
Yeah, but I love Saint Kitts. Saint Kitts is fantastic.
So you are living here, like?
I'm living here part of each year. Yeah. So I spend a couple of months here each year, and I'm zipping around the world promoting more economic freedom for the world through digital currencies like Bitcoin Cash. Fantastic. The weather's between like 23 or 4 to 28 every single day, all year round. Like, what's not to love?
And you live in Saint Kitts or in Nevis?
I live here in Saint Kitts. Yeah. I'm liking Saint Kitts a lot. And you have no personal or corporate income tax or capital gains tax. You don't even have to file a tax return at the end of the year. That just feels like paradise for me. And even if it was freezing cold and snowing outside, it would still feel pretty warm inside because I don't even have to file a form at the end of the year. And that's just heaven for me. So my understanding of flag theory is that you have your citizenship in one country, you live somewhere else, and you do your business somewhere else. And that's the best way to get governments to leave you alone in most areas of your life. And I think that's probably a pretty good strategy. Although the wonderful part about having cryptocurrencies, it makes it so you can do business in the jurisdiction of cryptocurrency, and it's much more outside of the traditional business world, and you don't have to beg for a bank account or beg to be accept credit cards or PayPal or anything like that. So cryptocurrency is one of the best things to have ever happened in regards to flag theory, I think.
And how many flags you planted?
I have quite a few flags at this point. Yeah, at least 4, I would say. Yeah.
What is this flags?
Japan and Saint Kitts are the 2 public ones.
What about cryptocurrency? Because when the theory was created, it was
a long time ago.
Yeah, long time ago. And it was no cryptocurrency at the time. So that is a 7th flag. How do you think?
Yeah, a 7th flag, or it maybe replaces one of the other existing flags there. I think the cryptocurrencies that are the fastest, the cheapest, the most reliable, and the easiest for people to use are the ones that are going to get the most traction. And the ones that get the most traction will have the most users, and the most places you can use it, and the biggest market cap, and the biggest price appreciation. So if something's not fast, cheap, and reliable, and easy to use, people aren't going to use it. So that's from an investor standpoint, I'm looking for the cryptocurrencies that have those characteristics.
But that is a big challenge for governments. I mean,
that's why I love cryptocurrencies. So I'm a voluntarist. I think each individual owns their own life, and they should have complete control of their own life, and they shouldn't need permission from governments to do anything that's peaceful. And cryptocurrencies enable individuals to do exactly that. So that's why I'm so in love with digital currencies.
How do you think, what will happen after, I don't know, 10, 15 years with cryptocurrencies? So maybe governments try to cover it under control, or what can happen?
I think the really smart governments will embrace it. The governments that embrace cryptocurrency first are the ones that will benefit the most by them. So any forward-looking politician or government person should be rolling out the red carpet for cryptocurrency and saying, hey, we want this used here, we want people to use it, because unlike the US dollar or any of these other currencies, with most cryptocurrencies, the supply is limited. And so as more people start to use it, the price goes up. So if Saint Kitts were to start using Bitcoin Cash or any other cryptocurrency across the whole country first, and then it spreads to the rest of the world after that, Saint Kitts will wind up becoming one of the wealthiest countries in the entire world because of it. So it's an incredible opportunity. People just need to be aware of it and take action on it. So, and I'm happy to help if they want, and if they don't, oh well, my life is still okay. So just a few minutes ago, we created a brand new Migros token and sent them right to your phone, and now you have Migros tokens on your phone, and these are running on the Bitcoin Cash network. You can send them anywhere in the world instantly, basically for free. No one can freeze your account, no one can stop them, and you can have them represent shares in a company, you can have them represent gold, you can have them represent dollars, you can have them represent anything you want, because that's the beauty of tokens, is they can tokenize anything.
How can I send it to you?
You'll scan my address on my phone, and if I wasn't next to you, I could send it to you by text message, and you'll choose the Migros token here, and you can choose how many you want to send me. So you're gonna send me 1,000. The last step, slide to send. So you've now sent them, and we'll wait 1 second here. Boom, the payment's been received on my phone. Just like that, and I have 1,000 more Migros tokens. Just like that, thank you. So easy, right? And so you can see on my phone, I have a bunch of different tokens. I have some spice tokens and Tesla tokens and Wuhan infection virus tokens. I have all sorts of tokens here.
Okay,
so,
what is a KISS token?
Somebody made a token, it's called KISS. You want some? I can send them to you. So. closest thing I ever had to any issue is one passport agent saw the Saint Kitts and Nevis passport and he said, "This is a passport of convenience." And he was mad about it, and I looked up and said, "Yes, it is very convenient." And then still let me through just fine. So, it's Harry Brown's silver rule. So most people have heard of the golden rule, which is do unto others as you would want them to do to you. The Harry Brown's silver rule is just be yourself, right? If you're always pretending to be somebody that you're not, you're going to attract people that like you for the person that you're not. Whereas if you just be yourself all the time, you're going to attract people that spend time around you that like you for who you are. And you'll find life to be much more enjoyable when you're spending it with people around you that like you for who you are rather than like you for someone that you're not. And so I think that's a really good rule to live life by. So like if you like fancy, jewelry and fancy hairdos and watches and this, that, good for you, go ahead and do it. If you don't like it, don't do it. It's your life and enjoy the activities that you like. If you want to sit at home and play video games and you enjoy it, and maybe if you do that all day, you'll find other people that want to do that with you. If you want to go do something else, then go do it. Do the things that you like in life, and you'll attract other people that like you for you and those same things that you like. I think everybody in the world should have a second passport. You don't know when a government's going to go crazy, right? Before World War II, Germany was considered to be one of the most civilized, wonderful countries in the entire world. And then look what they did. They started rounding up people by the millions and executing them. And don't think that can't happen in America or China or Russia or anywhere else. And by having a second passport, that gives you the opportunity to flee to somewhere else if the government where you're living currently goes crazy. And so if you don't have a second passport, you're at the complete mercy of the government that controls the passport that you have. And if you look in your passport though, in just about every passport, it says that it's not your passport. The passport belongs to the government that issued it, and they can take it back from you at any time. And so it's a really good idea to have multiple passports for anybody, anywhere in the world.
I agree with you. Actually, country when I was born no more exists.
There you go.
Yeah, and it was 3 revolutions there, and so yeah, I absolutely agree with you. That is why I'm in this business. Okay, but so if you have Saint Kitts passport and you was born there, so do you need to have some more passports?
I think it's still a good idea. Even if you were born in Saint Kitts and you only had a Saint Kitts passport, it would be a good idea to get an additional one, because as wonderful as things are here in Saint Kitts currently, you never know. It's one regime change away from, I don't think that they're going to round up people and execute them in Saint Kitts anytime soon, but I'm sure the people living in Germany didn't think that was ever going to happen, or people living in Cambodia, or the people living in China. Like, it happens time and time again. And even in America, right? Like, they intentionally, spread diseases to the Native Americans to kill them, right? Like, that happened in America. It's supposedly the land of the free. You never know what's going to happen. You don't know what the future's going to bring. So you should be prepared for any future. And one of the ways to do that is by having a second passport. So I miss some friends and family I had in the US, and I miss the nice big parking spaces that they have over there, but I don't miss any of the bureaucracy over there. There's just so much bureaucracy. My tax returns were thousands of pages each year, and I don't miss that one bit. Like I wasn't a big fan, I've never been a big fan of taxes, but I hated the hours and hours and mountains of paperwork to fill it out far more than I hated paying. And literally it was thousands of pages long for my tax returns each year, and it's just like this giant burden off of my back not to have to deal with any of that paperwork. Now I can spend that time with my friends or family or doing something that I enjoy rather than doing something that I dread. And so that's one of the biggest benefits.
In Libertarianism, we have NEP is the first principle. So what is the first principle on crypto?
Nobody has asked me that question before. First principle of cryptocurrency. I think self-sovereignty or self-responsibility is the first principle of cryptocurrency. If you're not in control of the cryptocurrency yourself, it's not yours. Or another saying on the internet we've seen is not your keys, not your coins. And I think that applies to cryptocurrency. If you're not the one holding it yourself, it's not yours. And that's one of the most amazing things about cryptocurrencies, that each individual can be in control of it themselves. So if you're using some custodial wallet for someone else to hold on to it for you, I think you've missed a big part of the benefit of cryptocurrency.
Okay, what is your mission in cryptocurrency, in crypto world?
Yeah, so my mission with cryptocurrency is to provide the tools and the infrastructure to allow people to engage in more commerce with each other. And more free trade and more economic freedom leads to more economic growth. More economic growth leads to a higher standard of living for everybody, with better medical technology and better computer technology and better spaceships and cars and everything. and that makes the world a better place for everybody to live in, and I'm living in the same world with everybody else, so it's a tool to make the world a better place for everybody, and it's the world I'm living in too. So, and that's why I'm doing this day in and day out. Almost all the people that are interested in a second passport understand that governments aren't necessarily be trusted, and if you put all of your trust in one single government, you're completely at their mercy. So I think it makes sense that libertarians, with their distrust of governments, would realize, oh, I need to diversify which government I'm at the mercy of, and if one goes crazy, I can then ask for the protection from another one instead of the original one. So that's what I love about the citizenship by investment community. There's plenty of libertarians to talk to, and they're always smart, interesting people with interesting ideas.
Some of them are very crazy ones, actually.
There's some crazy ones too, but it's the crazy people that change the world sometimes too, right? Steve Jobs was a bit crazy, but he changed the world.
I agree with you. Okay, what's the top 5 principle of libertarianism for you?
So the best general rule of thumb, and I don't think you can call it an ironclad principle, but it's the non-aggression principle. And that's that you should never use aggressive force or fraud against anybody else. And almost everybody lives their life like that all day, every day, all the time. And it's only really, really wild circumstances in which it would be okay to aggress against somebody that hasn't aggressed against anybody else first. So I'm a really big fan of the non-aggression principle, but there are certain circumstances in which maybe somebody would feel like it should be violated, but those pretty much never come up in real life ever. So I'm a big, big fan of the non-aggression principle, and I wish more people would abide by it. And pretty much everybody does all the time. The only people that don't are murderers, rapists, and governments. And everybody knows that murderers and rapists and thieves are bad people, but they've been brainwashed from a very young age into thinking that somehow when governments use aggressive force against peaceful people that haven't hurt anybody, they know it's wrong when the rapist does it, they know it's wrong when the robber does it, they know it's wrong when the murderer does it. But if someone puts on a costume and works in a building with a flag out in front of it, suddenly they think, oh, now it's okay. But no, it's not okay. Using aggressive force against peaceful people is wrong just about all of the time. Libertarianism and free markets lead to a more prosperous world for everybody. So if you take a look around the world at the countries with more freedom, they have a higher standard of living and a higher rate of economic growth. Just look at North Korea versus South Korea. South Korea is a fantastic place with a great economy and people have wonderful lives. North Korea is horrible. Or if you go back farther in history, look at East Germany and West Germany. Same culture, same natural resources, just two different forms of government. In East Germany, you have a government that's controlling everything. In West Germany, you had much more freedom. And in West Germany, they're producing Porsches, Mercedes, BMW. People have a really good standard of living. In East Germany, the only thing they were able to produce there was a great big giant wall to prevent people from escaping because things were so bad. So you can see clearly the more economic freedom people have, the higher the rate of economic growth and the higher the standard of living that people in those countries have. And so everybody all over the world should be advocating for more economic freedom because it leads to a better life for everybody. And libertarianism at its heart is all about more economic freedom for everybody. And of course, that's what we should all be supporting if we want to make the world a better place. It's certainly spreading faster in the world today because of the internet, right? If it wasn't for the internet, a lot of people would have never been exposed to these ideas. So I became attracted to Bitcoin and digital currencies because I was already a libertarian. But I've gotten so many emails now from people that say, I got interested in Bitcoin and then I heard about libertarianism and voluntarism because I was interested in Bitcoin. And now they're like, now the whole world makes so much more sense than it did before. So I love the fact that we can use digital currencies now to spread the ideas of voluntarism and libertarianism to the rest of the world. And it's this fantastic platform that I have now with Bitcoin.com. Not only are we spreading the use of Bitcoin Cash and cryptocurrencies, but we're spreading the ideas of voluntarism and libertarianism to the world as well. So it's like, what could be more fun than that? Spreading the tools to enable libertarianism and it's spreading the idea of libertarianism to the world. And we can do both of those things at Bitcoin.com. We have a solution to that, though. The solution is cryptocurrency. Do as much of your business and your life in cryptocurrency, and you don't have to ask any bank for permission to do anything. And we built another amazing platform at local.bitcoin.com. Russia is one of our bigger markets for that. You can buy or sell Bitcoin Cash with anyone for any payment method in any country with no KYC required. There's nobody there to tell you no because you're dealing directly with some other person on the other side of the trade. So it works in any country for any amount with any payment method anywhere in the world. and that's local.bitcoin.com. So that's a really great way to have your on and off ramp to and from digital currencies without having to depend on a bank or a government or anybody at all.
What about business?
There's plenty of places in America that are a lot more dangerous than anywhere in Saint Kitts. Like, Saint Kitts isn't perfectly safe all the time everywhere, but neither is America. I was just talking with somebody about, and it happened a while ago, but there was a wife of somebody that got kidnapped in America, and the kidnapper injected something into her and told her, you're gonna die in 48 hours unless you pay me the ransom money, and then we'll give you the antidote for that. And like, that happened in the US. That's one of the craziest things you can think of. Even the CEO of Adobe got kidnapped in San Jose, California a number of years ago and held for ransom. Right there in San Jose, California, the heart of Silicon Valley, people are getting kidnapped and held for ransom. So I haven't heard of anybody being kidnapped and held for ransom in St. Kitts. So maybe it's happened, but I haven't heard of it. So
I hope you found this video helpful. Feel free to ask any questions in the comments and subscribe to our channel.